comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a and he put this dress on. Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it.
I don't want to be with you no more.
A lot of this is on us. You know, you vote with your pocketbook, your wallet, you vote with your time, sitting in front of the idiot box. A lot of stuff that's on today is coonery and buffoonery. And I know it's making a lot of money, breaking records, but we could do better because each artist should be allowed to pursue the artistic endeavor. But I still think there a lot of stuff that's on today.
I don't know, man. It's just like Tyler Perry. He paints a very negative portrayal of black men. We ain't that bad. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, Tyler Perry makes us seem like we ain't
We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. The people that been in his productions, they not famous. All of them can walk through the mall without security.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I wonder if Tyler Perry is like, he's on a crusade to make black men look as bad as possible so women don't want us no more so he can have all the men himself.
Marriage has run its course. It's over.
What? What are you trying to say?
I'm saying it's over.
Charles!
I sincerely hope I shall always be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is too full to tell you just how I feel.
If you've watched a lineup of Tyler Perry movies, you might have noticed something glaring. Where are the A-list black male actors, or even A-list actors in general? It's wild when you think about it, especially since Perry is one of the biggest black producers in Hollywood, with billion-dollar budgets to back him up. So, what's really going on? Now, let's give credit where it's due. Tyler Perry's personal story is nothing short of legendary. The man went from being homeless to flying private on his own jet and owning one of the largest movie studios in the game. Honestly, his life story could be his best movie yet. But instead of that inspiring tale, we keep getting served the same reheated dish. Perry in a wig and dress playing Medea, or some variation of her. It's gotten to the point where even heavyweights like Spike Lee couldn't hold back their criticism. And honestly, when you look at the repetition in his movies, it's hard not to ask, where's the growth? Where's the elevation?
And has a huge audience. And Tyler's very smart. We know what he's done. He started out, with these plays and church buses would pull up, bought his own jet. You can buy a jet, you got money. But at the same time, for me, just imagery is trouble.
And let's not forget, Spike Lee's not just talking from the sidelines. This man is tight with A-listers like Wesley Snipes, Denzel Washington, and Samuel L. Jackson. So when he speaks, people listen. His words carry serious weight in Hollywood, and when he calls out Tyler Perry's formula, it's more than just a personal opinion. It's a real critique coming from one of the industry's giants.
Hello, I'm Wesley Snipes. I want to talk about my friend Spike Lee.
Now, it's no secret that Spike Lee and Tyler Perry haven't exactly been besties over the years. Despite both being major forces in black cinema, these two have had their fair share of beef. While they've both made huge contributions to bringing black culture to the big screen, their approaches couldn't be more different. The real public tension between them kicked off in 2009 when Spike Lee, never one to hold his tongue, came for Perry's movies and TV shows. Spike didn't mince words, calling out Perry's work for what he saw as connery and buffoonery. Basically, Spike felt Perry was out here feeding into negative stereotypes of black folks, and he wasn't afraid to say it loud and clear.
It's coonery and buffoonery. And I know it's making a lot of money, breaking records, but we could do better.
Spike definitely didn't hold back in an interview with Black Enterprise, where he went all the way in. He compared Tyler Perry's content to the kind of stereotypical portrayals you'd see on what he called the idiot box, which, yeah, that was a pretty harsh jab at TV as a whole. Spike wasn't pulling any punches, making it clear he wasn't here for what he saw as the lazy, harmful depictions of black people in Perry's work.
A lot of this is on us. You vote with your pocketbook, your wallet, you vote with your time, sitting in front of the idiot box.
Spike may have acknowledged that Tyler Perry is smart and knows how to bring in the audience. And let's be real, Perry does have a huge fan base and a knack for creating content people love, but Spike wasn't having it when it came to the image Perry's movies and shows were putting out. He accused Perry of pandering to what would rake in the most ratings, even if that meant leaning into those harmful, tired stereotypes. And honestly, a lot of folks think Spike might have a point. Perry's brand of comedy often relies on those simplistic, stereotypical portrayals. Sure, Perry argues that he's creating jobs for black actors and making bank while doing it, but critics say that doesn't make it okay to keep promoting those kinds of images. It's like saying, just because a drug dealer is making money and keeping some cash flowing in the community, that somehow makes it all good. Or think about big corporations that flood the market with cheap goods, pushing out smaller, more ethical businesses in the process. The point is, making money doesn't automatically make what you're doing right or good for the culture. Spike Lee, on the other hand, has always been about elevating black culture and avoiding those stereotypical traps. His films may not always be blockbusters, but Spike takes pride in telling authentic, respectful stories. For him, it's all about showing love and respect to the black community through his art. But Tyler Perry wasn't about to let Spike Lee's criticism slide without a response. In 2009, during an appearance on 60 Minutes, they asked Perry about Spike's comments, and baby, he didn't hold back. Perry was clearly fed up. He straight up said he was done with hearing Spike's name and didn't hesitate to tell him to go straight to hell. The gloves were off, and the beef was officially on.
The hell out of you, say something else.
That is my answer to Spike Lee. Go to hell.
Tyler Perry was not in the mood for any of Spike Lee's critiques, especially when it came to the coonery and buffoonery jabs. Perry wasn't having it, telling Spike to mind his business and stop coming for him, and even other heavyweights like Oprah and Clint Eastwood. He made it crystal clear how fed up he was, saying, "I'm so sick of hearing about damn Spike Lee. Spike can go straight to hell. You can print that." He went on to rant about how tired he was of Spike calling him a coon or a buffoon, saying Spike had disrespected a whole list of people, including Oprah, Whoopi, Clint Eastwood, and himself. Perry was done, and he wasn't pulling any punches. But even though Perry clapped back hard, a lot of fans weren't buying it. They started calling out the real issues with his movies, like how they often lean into those old, tired stereotypes of black families and black culture. And don't even get me started on those overly dramatic films where black men and women are shown as weak, evil, or just downright problematic. On top of that, there were the behind-the-scenes rumors. Things like a toxic work environment, forced religious practices, and whispers about Perry's controversial views on the LGBTQ+ community. And let's talk about those casting choices too. Fans noticed that in many of Perry's films, dark-skinned black male actors are often cast as the villains. So while Perry may be raking in the money and the fans, people are questioning whether all that success is worth the cost of perpetuating these harmful tropes.
I'm not a Tyler Perry fan, so this is what I got to say. It's funny how he got all this money to do everything but the right thing. And this lets me know that he's scared of white people and he has to stay in this weird box.
Criticism about Tyler Perry's work has been bubbling for a minute. And it's not just coming from outsiders. Folks within the industry are speaking out too. Take Chris Rock, for example. He's pointed out a recurring pattern in Perry's films, noticing that there's a serious lack of kind, respectful, dark-skinned boyfriends. Rock made his point by joking about how Tupac Shakur could have fit into one of Perry's movies. Tupac might be a political leader if he was alive, but then again, Tupac might be in a Tyler Perry movie right now, so you don't know. Tupac might be the bad, dark-skinned boyfriend in the Tyler Perry movie. Basically, Rock was saying that if Tupac, a major figure in the 90s, were ever in a Tyler Perry film, he wouldn't be cast as the hero. Based on Perry's casting choices, Tupac would likely be stuck playing the stereotypical villain. Rock even went further, adding that he might be kicking Jill Scott down a flight of stairs, which is his way of saying Perry's roles often don't reflect the full, diverse range of black experiences. Cultural critic Jamila Lemieux also stepped into the conversation, writing an open letter to Tyler Perry that NPR published. She didn't hold back her feelings about the stereotypes in his work, especially through his character Medea. Lemieux bluntly stated that Perry's portrayal of Medea, played by a 6'3" man with prosthetic breasts, has turned the powerful figure of the black matriarch into a punchline. "Our mothers and grandmothers deserve much more than that," she wrote, making it clear that the way Perry portrays these important figures is disrespectful. Her message to Perry was sharp. While he's done some great things for Black Hollywood, like challenging the old guard, he's also playing into harmful stereotypes that don't do justice to the black community. And she wasn't alone. Chris Rock, Jamila Lemieux, And other critics have pointed out that Perry's casting and storytelling choices seem to be reinforcing certain biases rather than breaking them down. The conversation around Tyler Perry's work is definitely more complex than just success and money. It's about the impact of those choices on how Black culture is portrayed. The conversation around Tyler Perry and his portrayals of Black characters is sparking a much bigger question about Hollywood's long-standing issues with colorism and stereotyping. This isn't a new issue by any means. Hollywood has been wrestling with it for decades. And lately, the spotlight's been shining brighter on those shady practices. Media campaigns and hashtags are calling out the industry for its flaws. Remember Harvey Weinstein? He was one of the first major figures to drag Hollywood into the negative spotlight with those sexual assault allegations back in 2017. And now, a new documentary is spilling the tea on Hollywood's darker side, exposing power players who allegedly prey on aspiring actors. Fast forward to the #1 The Me Too movement, and Hollywood has been plagued by scandals left and right. Kevin Hart had to step down as Oscars host in 2019 over old homophobic tweets, and the Oscars So White campaign is still demanding more diversity and proper recognition for people of color and marginalized communities. Hollywood's reputation has really taken a nosedive in recent years. Once considered the pinnacle of success, it's now seen as more of a mess. Even the Hollywood Walk of Fame, once the ultimate symbol of achievement, has lost its luster. These days, it's more like a walk of shame, especially with all the stars who have fallen from grace. Now, let's rewind to the 1940s for a minute, back when Hollywood was truly the entertainment capital of the world. It was 1940, and Hattie McDaniel made history as the first African American to win an Oscar for her role in Gone with the Wind. You'd think that moment would have been pure joy, a milestone for Black achievement in Hollywood. But nope, it wasn't quite that simple. McDaniel's Oscar win was overshadowed by the harsh realities of racism in Hollywood, and her victory didn't guarantee equality or respect. Even at the height of her success, McDaniel still faced discrimination and exclusion from the very industry she helped pave the way for.
I sincerely hope I shall always be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is too full to tell you just how I feel.
Though Hattie McDaniel's Oscar win was a groundbreaking achievement, the Oscars in 1940 were still a segregated affair. McDaniel was forced to sit at a separate table, away from the rest of the cast, tucked at the back of the room. Her win should have been a symbol of progress, but instead it served as a harsh reminder of the racial discrimination that was deeply ingrained in Hollywood and society at large. It wasn't a celebration, it was a stark reminder of segregation and exclusion. Fast forward 80 years, and you'd hope things would have changed. But Hollywood is still grappling with those same issues. Sure, there's a lot of talk about diversity and inclusion, but when it comes down to action, Hollywood hasn't quite caught up. The 2020 Oscars, for example, weren't without their own racial controversies, which viewers and insiders have almost come to expect at this point. And don't even get me started on the snubs, like how Lupita Nyong'o was completely overlooked for her powerful performance in Us in 2019. That one still stings for a lot of people. Now, if you shift your focus to Tyler Perry's corner of the entertainment world, you can't help but notice a disturbing pattern in his movies and TV shows. It's like, if you're a dark-skinned Black actor, chances are you're going to end up playing a villain or some negative, stereotypical character. Just look at Steve Harris in Diary of a Mad Black Woman. He plays Charles McCarter, a successful lawyer who's an absolute nightmare of a husband. He flat out tells his wife he's leaving her for another woman, then treats her like dirt. It's a brutal portrayal, and it's not the only example. This kind of casting isn't a rare exception in Perry's films. It's a trend that many people have started to notice, and it only adds to the ongoing conversation about colorism and stereotypes in Hollywood.
Marriage has run its course. It's over.
What? What are you trying to say?
I'm saying it's over.
Charles!
Blair Underwood, a seasoned actor who's been in the game for over 4 decades and is known for his iconic role in LA Law, shared a story that takes us back to his early days in Hollywood. He recalled a conversation with the legendary Sidney Poitier that sheds light on the struggles Black actors faced back in the day. In the 80s, it was incredibly rare to see Black faces on TV or in movies, and when they did appear, the roles were often limited and riddled with harmful stereotypes. This lack of representation left Black audiences with little to connect to or relate to on screen. Back then, Blair Underwood and Denzel Washington were pretty much the go-to Black actors for leading roles, and they were consistently praised for their talent. But despite their success, Hollywood hadn't really shifted much by the 90s. According to Underwood, every Black actor and actress, regardless of their experience or reputation, had to fight for the same small pool of roles. It was like an ongoing competition for a limited number of opportunities, and it didn't matter if you were a well-established vet or a newcomer. The challenges were the same for everyone trying to break through in an industry that was still largely indifferent to diverse representation.
Like, why they only want to see us as slaves or in the hood? And
Blair Underwood isn't the only one who faced these struggles. Actors like Philip Van Leer, who got his shot at playing a villain in one of Perry's films as a drug dealer, or Ion Overman, who played a shady assistant district attorney in Medea Goes to Jail, have also had their fair share of these stereotypical roles. Then there's Ron Rico Lee, who was cast as Chuck, an assistant district attorney, and Brian White, who portrayed Randy, the abusive boyfriend in I Can Do Bad, All by Myself. If you take a closer look at Perry's body of work, there's a noticeable trend. Many of the so-called villains in his films are dark-skinned men, and they're often shown being abusive toward women. This has sparked some serious criticism over the years. People have started to call out these portrayals as harmful, arguing that they perpetuate negative stereotypes about black men. But then, there's the flip side. Take Perry's show, Bruh, for example. The series centers on 4 black men navigating life, relationships, friendships, and careers. These men are portrayed as tight-knit, almost like family, always supporting each other with smiles on their faces. The contrast between these positive depictions and the often villainous roles dark-skinned actors are cast in raises some serious questions about the range of characters being portrayed and the messages being sent.
You seem nervous.
I'm a little confused. Wait. Okay.
Sisters takes a different angle altogether, shining a spotlight on the lives of 4 single black women navigating the highs and lows of singlehood. The tagline, "Single but never solo," sets the tone for the show, emphasizing their journey of friendship, love, heartbreak, and growth. These women lean on each other as they deal with everything life throws their way, whether it's career struggles, romantic drama, or personal challenges. Unlike the often one-dimensional portrayals of black men in Perry's films, Sisters presents a more diverse and complex view of black women, showing their strength, vulnerability, and resilience in the face of it all. Still, even with these empowering portrayals, there are those who question how much of Perry's storytelling truly uplifts or limits the representation of black women, considering the underlying stereotypes his work can sometimes lean into.
I don't want to be with you no more.
Twist. The promotional materials for Sisters often highlight the women individually rather than together, which, while subtle, might suggest that even though they're navigating singlehood, their journeys are very much personal. The show dives deep into their dating lives, careers, friendships, and all the messy in-between moments, offering a more layered and varied portrayal of black women compared to some of Perry's past works. But of course, it wouldn't be a Tyler Perry production without stirring up. And then there's the iconic character of Medea, the hilarious matriarch who, while funny, has also sparked a lot of debate. Dave Chappelle had some thoughts on this when he appeared on Oprah's show. He asked a big question: why do we see so many black actors creating and playing female characters? He pointed out that it seems like, at some point, every black man in Hollywood ends up wearing a dress for a role. Chappelle made a sharp observation about this trend, implying that there's something deeper going on in how these roles are being cast, which made a lot of people stop and think.
Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress, at some point
Chappelle shared a personal story to drive his point home. He recalled a time when he was shooting a movie with Martin Lawrence, and when he walked into his trailer, he found a dress waiting for him. At first, Chappelle thought there had been some kind of mistake, but then he realized the dress was for a scene where his character was supposed to escape from jail by dressing up as a woman. Chappelle, ever the rebel, immediately shut that down. He was like, "No way, I'm not doing that." The crew tried to convince him, saying it was just a funny bit and that it'd be hilarious, but Chappelle wasn't having it. He stood firm, saying, "I don't need to wear a dress to be funny." It was a bold move, and it showcased Chappelle's refusal to conform to the typical roles being handed to black actors in Hollywood. His story highlighted a broader issue in the industry, how black men, in particular, are often boxed into these comedic, emasculating roles. Chappelle's decision not to go along with it was a stand against a Hollywood trope that many people, especially black actors, had begun to question.
Comes in, I think he's a writer, he's like, "Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail, so he disguises you as a and he put this dress on." Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in a discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it.
Chappelle's refusal to wear the dress was about much more than just that one role. He saw it as a part of a larger, troubling trend in Hollywood, where black men were often pushed into roles that were demeaning or compromising. His refusal wasn't just a stand against one scene. It was a stand against a pattern of stereotyping and forced humiliation in Hollywood. The fact that the scene was rewritten so quickly made Chappelle question why they were so adamant about him wearing a dress in the first place, especially considering it wasn't essential to the plot. It made him realize that this was part of a bigger problem. Black entertainers were frequently being asked to do things that felt unnecessary, demeaning, and often played into stereotypes. Tyler Perry, on the other hand, had a different perspective on the dress-wearing debate. When asked about Chappelle's comments, Perry responded with a thoughtful explanation. He acknowledged Chappelle's intelligence and deep thinking, but he made it clear that his own experience in Hollywood was different. For Perry, wearing a dress was his own personal choice, not something imposed on him by the industry. He framed it as part of his work uniform, something that helped him achieve his vision and build his $2 billion franchise. Perry explained that as an actor, wearing a dress wasn't about emasculation or humiliation. It was simply about playing a role, just as someone would put on a uniform for a job. To him, the dress was just a tool to entertain, lift people up, and offer encouragement through his character Medea. It was a way for him to connect with audiences and deliver his message. While Chappelle saw the dress as a symbol of Hollywood's problematic dynamics, Perry viewed it as a personal choice that was part of his larger creative process. The difference in their perspectives highlights a larger conversation about the complexities of Black representation in Hollywood, whether it's about artistic freedom or industry pressures.
That's not my case, right? Nobody owned that dress,
right?
But me.
That's right.
Nobody told me. It's a $2 billion franchise. Nobody told me to put it on.
That's right.
Nobody makes me.
While Tyler Perry has built an empire, his reputation among some within the industry is far from flawless. On one hand, he is celebrated as a self-made mogul who has provided ample opportunities for Black actors and creatives. But on the other hand, there are accusations that he hasn't always been as supportive of Black talent as he claims to be. A notable controversy stems from his handling of the writers of his hit TV show, House of Pain. After the show's success and lucrative syndication deal, the writers reportedly asked for union contracts and better pay. Instead of negotiating, Perry allegedly fired 4 writers, which led to backlash. Terry Brown Jackson, one of the fired writers, expressed how they felt used, having worked tirelessly on over 100 episodes, only to be let go when the show started making real money. Kelly Griffin, the head writer, also voiced her disappointment, emphasizing that while the situation was frustrating, she hoped it would help future Black writers receive fair compensation. But this wasn't the only instance of Perry's contentious relationship with unions. In 2015, the actor union SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity clashed with Perry's production company when they refused to sign union contracts for the play Medea on the Run. This led to a ban on union members performing in the production, further tarnishing Perry's image as a champion for Black creatives. While Perry might have created jobs for many, these incidents have raised questions about his commitment to supporting the very people who helped him build his empire. It's a tough juxtaposition. On one side, Perry's entrepreneurial success has provided a platform for many Black actors and filmmakers, but on the other, his actions behind the scenes don't always match the public image of a savior of Black Hollywood. His leadership style and approach to business have sparked debate about the balance between financial success and the ethical treatment of those who help make that success possible. Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out the rest of the videos on our channel.